Good morning. I'm Spot On Weather Meteorologist Matthew Euler, and we're going to go ahead and cover what lies ahead here, short term as well as long term weather patterns. Here's a nice picture of a orangish and yellowish and yellow fall leaves. And we definitely hit that point in time, and I'm going to kick today off. Speaking of fall leaves and foliage, let's take a look at the normal peak fall colors across the United States. Maybe you have a trip planned. Maybe you would want to take a trip on one of these extended fall weekends. We have one coming up here this next weekend with Columbus Day weekend. Perhaps you want to just take a train or drive. Here are the main areas and time frames when you'll see the peak fall colors. Um, you notice how you have more of the peak fall colors up along the northern U.S. and the higher elevations out in the inner mountain west, the Rocky Mountains, a little bit earlier. In fact, late September is a typical peak fall color time for northern Minnesota and the upper peninsula of Michigan, parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, and northern New England. That reddish color also extending down for late September peak colors over the western Colorado area and the higher elevations of the Rocky Mountains. The colors gradually progress towards their peak the further south you get later in the fall, all the way down to the mid south, northern Alabama, Arkansas, northern Georgia, up into upstate South Carolina and North Carolina and to parts of Virginia as we get to late October and early November time period. But I just wanted to show you if you're looking at making any kind of travel plans or trips, just want to check out the fall foliage. Maple trees produce some beautiful colors on the trees with the reddish and the orangish tinges. But this is generally what the outlook looks like for normal peak fall colors across the United States. So get out there and enjoy nature's beauty. All right, so we're going to start things for the forecast portion of the video. We're going to kind of kick things off by taking a look at the visible satellite image on the left and then the temperature on the right. So for today, the 7th of October, 2019, this Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we do see a lot of clouds, more clouds than breaks in the clouds on the visible satellite imagery this morning. We do see some partly sunny skies across southeast Virginia, much thicker cloud mass back over New England, Vermont, New Hampshire, down to western Massachusetts, all the way down into New York State, Pennsylvania, back towards western Maryland into West Virginia. And that's associated with an approaching cold front. And I'll go ahead and show you that here in a moment. The actual depiction of that cold front, not too long here as we move along in the presentation. The image on the right shows the temperatures this morning, and generally across the mid-Atlantic and parts of Virginia, we have temperatures ranging from 74 degrees at Norfolk, 71 degrees at Chesapeake, 66 degrees out at Wakefield, Virginia, 69 degrees up at Richmond, and then you move further north. Temperatures are generally in the upper 60s to lower 70s. We do show a light southeasterly wind from 5 to 10 miles per hour, and we do have fairly muggy conditions with dew points in the middle to upper 60s. Let's go ahead and take a look at a current analysis. As I mentioned, we have a cold front that's situated from New York State down through Pennsylvania, southeastern Ohio into West Virginia, through Kentucky, Tennessee, down into Arkansas, stretching out all the way down to northeast Texas this morning. We do have that darker green area represented by that front. A lot more moisture out back towards the west over Tennessee and Kentucky. Unfortunately, that's not looking like it's going to hold together. So we're not expecting a major washout by any means as this front progresses towards southeast Virginia and the Hampton Road cities, although we really could use some rain. The image on the right shows the vertical temperature profile of the GFS sounding this morning, and we have a lot of the red line indicates your temperature, the green line indicates the dew point, and when those two lines are closest together, that indicates near saturated conditions in the atmosphere. And generally, when those lines are close together, we have clouds. So all the way up through just around 4,500 feet, we have some lower clouds, generally from the surface to 4,500 feet. And I visibly saw those out there this morning. We had some stratocumulus clouds that are situated over the area in the sky this morning. Then there's a much drier pocket of air between basically 5,000 feet up through 16,000 feet in the atmosphere. It's a very dry air over the moist lower levels of the atmosphere, and then it gets moist again above 18,000 feet. The winds are generally light from the south and southeast, and they do pick up an increase in speed as you go higher up in the atmosphere. Up at the jet stream level right now at 300 millibars, the winds are from the southwest at about 30 knots, but not overly strong. So here's our forecast for starting with tomorrow. Tomorrow, the 8th of October 2019. The cold front will have passed through southeast Virginia early on Tuesday morning, the 8th of October. We are expecting a wind shift to the north-northeast. Now you'll notice there's a lot of unsettled weather over the Atlantic Ocean, over the North Atlantic Ocean. We have a couple areas of low pressure that are situated just off the mid-Atlantic. We have one down off the coast of Georgia, South Carolina, and another up closer to the Virginia-North Carolina border, just sitting offshore. There's a lot of moisture associated with those low pressure systems, but that remains well out to sea off the coast. The image on the right shows a jet stream configuration for tomorrow. We have a dip in the jet stream across the Pacific Northwest up through central Canada. So the coolest conditions will remain to the north of that main jet axis over western Canada. We do have a secondary dip in the jet stream across the mid-Atlantic states. And so the temperatures are going to cool off as we get into Tuesday, tomorrow, the 8th of October. Moving ahead now to Wednesday, the 9th of October, 2019, you'll notice that the area of low pressure, we had two areas of low pressure for tomorrow. Those merge into one area of low pressure, 1,008 millibar low, situated just due east of the Virginia coast, but remaining out to sea off the coastline. But we may see some scattered showers basically spin around that particular storm system off the coast, and so we could see some scattered or periods of light rain showers. We're not expecting anything heavy, so it will not be a washout. But we will see some scattered showers coming in off the ocean. We'll have strong north-northeast winds as the gradient increases between a high-pressure system over southeast Canada at 1030 millibars and a 1,008 millibar low situated over the western Atlantic Ocean. So we are going to get some strong gusty winds from the northeast. We'll have mostly cloudy skies over southeast Virginia for Tuesday, the 9th of October, and some periods of showers. You can see on the image on the right the green shading over northeastern North Carolina as well as into southeastern Virginia. That greener shading indicates jet stream wind speeds between 70 and 80 miles per hour. So we do have a little bit of a finger of accelerated winds, a jet finger over the area. The long wave trough or the dip in the jet stream over the parts of Montana and Idaho is going to usher in and keep the coolest temperatures out west. Moving ahead now to Thursday, the 10th of October 2019, the area of low pressure deepens slightly at 1,006 millibars east of Virginia over the western Atlantic Ocean. We still have some shower activity spinning around that low. Very strong gusty winds may result in some tide anomalies at the high tidal cycles. We may see some scattered showers again on Thursday, the 10th of October, mainly in the morning hours. And we do have a much colder air mass with that dip in the jet stream situated over parts of the Dakotas, North and South Dakota, into western Nebraska, as well as into northeastern Colorado, where there's a 1036 millibar high situated over central Montana. So there's much cooler air, cold enough to produce snow up over the northern plain states by Thursday, the 10th of October. Moving on now to end your work week, Friday, the 11th of October 2019. We're going to be entering into the Columbus Day holiday weekend. For some, you get the holiday off Monday, October 14th. So let's take a look at the weather here for southeast Virginia, beginning with Friday, the 11th of October. Again, we may see some widely scattered showers just offshore. Finally, that area of low pressure has moved off to the east-northeast, away from the east coast. We will still have some fairly strong winds from the north-northeast, a high pressure situated over New England, ridging down into the mid-Atlantic. The area of low pressure, there's an area of low pressure at 997 millibars, fairly intense up over Lake Superior. A lot of rain showers from the Midwest, Wisconsin to Illinois, all the way down into Arkansas, as well as into southeastern Texas and Louisiana. A lot of rain. We get some snow, some wintry precip now starting to move into Minnesota, parts of western Minnesota, southeastern South Dakota, and into northwestern Iowa. As that strong dip in the jet stream indicated by the yellow and orange colors, wind speeds in excess of 100 miles per hour at 30,000 feet over the midwestern U.S. from Iowa up through Minnesota. Moving on now to Saturday, the 12th of October 2019. Here is your weekend outlook. There is another frontal boundary that's trying to pivot towards the east into southeastern Canada, extending southward down into western New York, into Pennsylvania, as well as into parts of Maryland, some scattered showers. Much colder air mass behind a 991 millibar low. That 991 millibar low hasn't moved a whole lot between Friday and Saturday. It's situated over Lake Superior, and we do have some fairly moderate snow over parts of central Canada into northern Minnesota, and even some snow showers all the way down into Minneapolis, as well as into parts of Wisconsin. If you look at the image on the right, shows the jet stream winds. Generally, yellow and orange colors indicate the strongest jet stream winds. Generally, the winds are west to east, situated across the midwestern U.S., Iowa, Illinois, Indiana. Moving ahead now to Sunday, the 13th of October 2019, there are some scattered showers as that frontal boundary finally pushes through. The next frontal boundary is pushing through southeastern Virginia, eastern North Carolina, with some scattered showers on Sunday. Area of low pressure up over the Great Lakes area at 999 millibars, with a cold pocket of air situated from northern Illinois up through Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, and into southeastern Canada. For the most part, Sunday looks dry if you have travel plans across the United States from east to west coast. Generally, we have a stronger area of winds associated with the jet stream over the mid-Atlantic by Sunday, but overall in southeastern Virginia, we're just expecting some partly sunny skies with scattered showers. But again, this will not be an all-day washout. This is the 7-day outlook, courtesy of Metro Weather Watch. This is our 7-day outlook, starting with today, Monday, partly sunny skies across Hampton Roads, Virginia, with a high temperature of 83 degrees, dropping into the upper 60s this evening, overnight. And then we do have some chances of some showers, some passing showers both Tuesday and Wednesday, as an area of low pressure is situated over the western Atlantic. It doesn't really move a whole lot over the next 48 to 72 hours. The next cold front will come in and eventually kick that system to the east and out to sea further away. But generally, you see the high temperatures from Tuesday through Sunday looking to be in the lower 70s, which is quite seasonable, fairly close to normal for this time of year in the early parts of October. Generally, we're expecting Friday and Saturday some partly sunny skies, and then we will see the next cold front push through on Sunday evening, so we're expecting more of the way of partly sunny skies, scattered showers, especially closer to evening on Sunday. All right, so let's look ahead a little bit further down the road and see what's to come. If we look at the 500 millibar height anomalies, 500 millibars is generally 18,000 feet in the atmosphere. This is for the 14th and 15th of October 2019. The blue shading indicates below normal heights, while the pinkish shading indicates above normal heights. So starting off with the image on the left, that's Monday the 14th of October, Columbus Day. Again, some folks have that day off as a holiday next week. Generally, we have a pocket of below normal heights, the blue shading, stretching from upper low, extending down into the Midwestern U.S. and generally in the Eastern U.S. into New England. There is an area of below normal heights, which is typically associated with below normal temperatures. The image on the right shows Tuesday, the 15th of October, height anomalies. You'll see there's a ridge above normal heights out across the western U.S. with a dip in the jet stream and overall below normal 500 millibar heights across the eastern U.S. into the mid-Atlantic. So the cool temperatures are forecast to continue. I really don't see any changes in the long-range pattern, at least through the middle of the month. Now moving on to 16 and 17 October, the blue shading on the left continues to extend down the east coast, even all the way down into Florida, and we'll see more of a progressive pattern. That pink shading, the peachish colors out over the central U.S. with upper level ridge. Image on the right shows that upper level ridge and those above normal heights shifting eastward into the Great Lakes region in southeastern Canada by the time we get to Thursday, the 17th of October. So this is going to be a pattern in which we see these troughs and ridges pushing through rather quickly, nothing really in a stagnant blocking formation or pattern. Right. As I always like to look at as we get into the fall and in the winter months, the Teleconnections Forecast, the latest, the North Atlantic Oscillation NAO is on the left and the PNA pattern is on the right. Generally showing for the North Atlantic Oscillation, we're looking at a general negative trend. Let me move ahead a little bit. Let's see. PNA pattern generally is negative, but it may look to fluctuate from time to time as well. These are actually older charts. I saved some newer ones, but unfortunately they didn't save. But I will tell you, after looking at the trends in the NAO and the AO, the North Atlantic Oscillation, Arctic Oscillation, the trends are for a negative tendency to both of those teleconnections, in which case that would indicate below normal temperatures across the eastern U.S. The PNA forecast, it is fluctuating from negative to positive and kind of hugging that neutral line. So keep in mind with Pacific North American, the PNA pattern, generally you have a negative PNA when the trough is over the western U.S. and a positive PNA when the ridge is over the western U.S. So that's something that we will really keep a close eye on. Generally, the forecast for the MJL on the right-hand portion of this image is generally showing the MJO stalling out in the phase 1 area and then eventually progressively getting less amplified. So this is something to keep an eye on, these teleconnections, as we progress through the fall and the winter in my forecasts. Now, the El Nino update, what's going on with the latest El Nino, where the sea surface temperature anomalies in the Nino 3.4 index in the eastern equatorial Pacific. You'll notice the trends going back to July with the sea surface temperature anomalies, or departures from normal, in the Nino 3.4 region. And as I mentioned in a previous video in my winter outlook, the 3.4 region is what the NOAA observes. The Climate Prediction Center really takes a hard look at that Nino 3.4 region to determine whether we have El Nino, La Nina, or ENSO neutral conditions. In general, back in July, we had more of a positive trend to the sea surface temperature departures in this region, generally all the way up almost to 0.4 above normal for the water temperatures. And then you'll see this big drop-off just before mid-August. You'll see that drop-off in that blue line all the way down to a minus 0.5, almost minus 0.5 sea surface temperature anomaly around the 27th of August. A little bit of a rebound in early September, and then a drop-off again to nearly La Nina-like conditions at minus 0.6 degrees Celsius temperature departure with the sea surface temperatures in that region. And then we see an increase. You notice how right now we're sitting on October 7th at about just positive 0.2, about 0.2 degrees Celsius above normal. Actually, the latest value is a positive 0.221 degrees Celsius. So we're generally in that ENSO neutral area. Minus 0.2 to positive 0.2 is in the neutral area. So just something to keep an eye on as we consider the Pacific in our long-range forecasting, especially into the winter season. Now, here's the latest ACE values, accumulated cyclone energy for the northern hemisphere. I'm looking at the North Atlantic in this case, and a lot of tropical activities occurred in the last month, which has really raised the ACE value up to 116.8. The normal for this date is 87.3. So, we just had Lorenzo last week sitting out over the eastern Atlantic, and that got up to some really strong category 4. That really helped boost the ACE up as well across the North Atlantic. Generally, the Northeast Pacific, east of the 180-degree longitude line, that's below normal in ACE. The Northwest Pacific has been a very quiet season out west of 180 degrees longitude out in the Western Pacific, well below normal for this date, actually running really below normal. And then just overall in the Northern Hemisphere in general, the ACE values are running below normal overall when you take into account all the ocean basins. But across the Atlantic, we are running above normal at the present time. Another thing I wanted to show you in today's forecast video is, as of 1 October, this was what the U.S. looks like as far as drought condition. So I have a legend there, intensity and impacts at the bottom. This is courtesy of NOAA. Generally, the brownish colors, that indicates When it's brownish color, lighter brown colors indicate moderate drought. The orange colors indicate severe drought. And then the reddish colors indicate extreme drought. So as you can see on this map, a lot of the mid-Atlantic is running below normal in precip, especially in Virginia, extending westward into Kentucky. We're looking at severe drought back in Kentucky. And look at parts of South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee. And so we definitely need some rain. Now the letter S, it delineates short-term impacts by the drought, typically less than 6 months. The L would indicate, if we see an L, that would indicate long-term impacts greater than 6 months. So this is, severity index that NOAA issues regularly, and we are running very dry, causing a abnormally dry period for a lot of the mid-Atlantic, leading to a moderate drought in some locations. So here are my final thoughts on today's forecasting video for Southeast Virginia. It's going to be a warm day today on Monday, the 7th of October, 2019. We have above average highs in the lower 80s, partly sunny skies out ahead of an approaching cold front. Now, that cold front will progress eastward and moving through the area overnight tonight and early Tuesday morning. We're expecting cooler temperatures behind that cold front for the remainder of the week. Tuesday through Sunday, we're expecting highs in the lower to middle 70s with lows in the lower 60s overnight. Chance of showers, we need rain, as I just showed you by the drought map. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning, looks like we may have some periods of light rain showers. Nothing heavy though, just light rain showers passing through as an area of low pressure, that little storm system that lingers off the mid-Atlantic coast. We may see some showers moving in off the ocean from time to time. We're going to have very strong breezy conditions. You'll notice that change tomorrow. The breezier weather will move in behind that area of low pressure, that storm off the mid-Atlantic coast. Next cold front is going to move through around Sunday, the 13th of October. We could expect some scattered showers with that as well, but again, we're not expecting anything too heavy. The overall longer range pattern is going to feature a progressive, highly changeable jet stream. Progressive meaning rapid movement from west to east, highly changeable weather, not looking at any major storm systems with that kind of configuration of the jet stream. We are expecting cold fronts to push east every 3 to 5 days. And my final thing here with the, I was given this great consideration, and I've been monitoring the solar activity, and with such low solar activity and the trend for a negative AO/NAO, and then the extended dry stretch of weather we've received across the mid-Atlantic, I'm leaning towards an above normal precipitation period, November through early February. I just get the feeling that, with the low solar activity leading to more of a higher frequency of blocking, high latitude blocking this winter, I think it's going to be the recipe for some storms. Now, with East Coast storms, keep in mind that if you get a negative AO/NAO and you get the high latitude blocking into Greenland across the North Atlantic, that generally leads to an inability for storms to readily escape east out to sea. We're already seeing that with this storm system this week, kind of just sitting off the East Coast and not really pushing out to sea very quickly because we have higher pressure in the higher latitudes up over the North Atlantic, so it's blocking it from moving out to sea. Same thing would happen if we get more of with that low solar activity, that trend for a negative AO/NAO. I really believe that we could see storms, East Coast winter storms, if they develop, get pinned closer to the coastline, the East Coast, with greater impacts. A lot of beach erosion, a lot of higher tides at high tide cycles, possible flooding along the coast throughout the winter. And so the other thing I think about with this is, with such a dry stretch of weather, I really am a big believer in nature eventually balances everything out. And with such a dry stretch as we're in the beginning of fall, if this continues, my confidence in a above normal, wetter than normal winter across the mid-Atlantic is growing. So it's just something to keep an eye on. We'll definitely do that. Don't forget, this is where you can find us at Spot On Weather. I certainly hope you enjoyed this presentation. Check us out, subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and our Spot on Weather Weebly website. You guys take care out there today. Hope you have a wonderful Monday. Thank you for watching, and most of all, thank you for your support. Spot on Weather, if we're not spot on, we're not doing it right. Have a great, great day, everybody.